Hello, Pennsylvania Charter Schoolers. It's Alex Schuh here from School Frontiers, and I'm going to spend a little time to take you through the Pennsylvania Future Ready Index, which is your school's report card. It's that time of year again when the data are finally uploaded, and we have information from last year for lots and lots of schools, every public and charter school in the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm not going to take you through the whole website because that would take a long, long time. I just want to point out a few things about the website that you may not know, or a few tips or tricks to pull up some information that might be useful for you. So first of all, start on the futureatepa.org website, which you can see here, and you can search by name for your school. You can also scroll through every single school. As you can see here, there's 2,917 results. I would suggest searching. There are other ways to find schools as well. If you know the name of a school district, for example, and you don't know the name of an elementary school in the district, you can go to the district up here, pick the district, and then it'll show you the number of schools that they have, and you can click on those schools there. I'm not going to get into that because I know the name of the school. I'm going to start with our friends at Maritime Charter. But just before I get to that, before we go into some of the data, I want to show you this function which you may not have spent much time with, but it can be interesting and potentially useful, where you can select schools to compare. As you see, there's a compare sign on here. I'm just going to do that really quickly since it's on the first page, and I could show you briefly how it works, and we'll go into some of the data issues. So for here, I'm going to compare in just a middle school and another middle school that both of them happen to be on the front page for the same grades, 6, 7, and 8. In this case, I'm comparing A.J. McMullen School with Abington Middle School. I don't have a particular reason to, other than that they have the same grades, and I'm just illustrating this. But if you check on those school boxes and then you hit compare, it will bring up information about the schools. It will start with fast facts about the schools. You can see enrollment, obviously hugely different enrollment sizes in these schools, so probably not that comparable. And then you can click on district fast facts as well. That will tell you things about the district that they're in. Uniontown, clearly about the third the size of Abington. And then you can click on school performance, which is the tab that we will be spending some time with in a moment. And this provides drop-down boxes for all of those, all of the school performance information for those schools that you selected. I'm going to go back into school performance for one particular school, but I just wanted to show you that if you want to compare your school to another school, there's a way to do that in the Future Ready Index. Any school to any other school. You can do more than one comparison too. You can do several schools. Okay, but I'm going to go to our friends at Maritime Academy Charter, put in the name there. The school comes up, shows me accurately that they have kindergarten to 12th grade. As you can see, I could compare it here by clicking there and then find another school to compare to. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go right to Maritime, click on that. Okay, a couple things I just wanted to show you that might be useful. For one thing, if you don't know, there's a way to export all of the school performance information from your school's previous year into a PDF. You click on this and it will allow you to download it. I'm just going to show you. I've already done that, and then you can click on the current year as well, and that will also download as a PDF. But I've already done that and I have them open. I'm just going to show you what they look like. So you get a PDF here that loads basically all the information about a school's performance, including on-track measures, attendance, proficiency, growth, graduation rate, and that kind of thing. So it puts it all on one page for you and could be useful to hand out to your board or people like that. This one is for the previous year, and the only way you can tell the difference is go look at these little tiny years in the middle of the page. One says school year 22-23, and the other says school year 23-24. Otherwise, there's no real way to distinguish the two. You might want to put your own label on it so you remember which one is which. But in any case, that's a useful feature where you can just export the whole summary that contains all of this information: state assessment measures, on track, college, and career. So going into state assessment, I just want to show you that we have proficiency, and I clicked on the little graph symbol. I know we've talked about the graph symbol before, if you were on some of these calls earlier, but here we see a graph showing the last 5 years of data, and I say it really is 5 years of data, even though there's 6 years presented here, because the 2020 data is the same as 2019. They just repeated it because 2020 didn't have any performance scores. So if it looks oddly similar in the first 2 years of this, and then everything else sort of goes spaghetti style, that's because they just repeated the 2019. So that's not your official 2020 scores. It's probably just the only way they could do it. In any case, that is where you find 6 years of, or 5 years in this case, information about your school's performance. You can, this might not be something that you know, but it might be useful. So you can actually download this graph so you can put it in a, let's just put it into download folder. You can download that graph. I just wanted to show you. And the graph itself can then be copied as a drawing, basically, into your documents that you could provide to your board members or parents or whatever it is. So that is one way to get that information without trying to screenshot it or something. And also you can download the CSVs file. This is basically what will make you an Excel file, so then you can sort of play around with it yourself, make your own graphs if you don't like these graphs, things like that. I just wanted to show you that that is an option in all of these. One other thing I want to mention is that there's color coding, which I know you are familiar with, but to show you what the federal, well, these two, math and English, are federal elements from the ESSA reporting. This is proficiency. This is growth. The red means that the school did not either surpass the statewide goal, which in this case is 81%, which is very high for English this year, and or surpassed its own goal that was set in the ESSA targets. So the ESSA targets are based on achieving a certain proficiency. It's different for every school, based on achieving that by 2033. They did not readjust things for COVID, so you may think, how is that even possible for anyone? It probably isn't. Well, we've got 9 years, so I'm not going to speak for anyone. And some people have surpassed their goal already if they start out at a high proficiency level. In any case, the statewide averages provided, it's not particularly helpful, because in this school, it's useful because it takes all PSSAs and keystones and then averages those percentages across the state. And this school happens to have kindergarten to 12th grade. But if your school had just 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it would have the same target here. And I'll just click on this little information tab. It says grades 3 to 11. So it tells you basically all that information from every kid in the state is basically included in this. So it may not be very comparable to your school. So moving down to growth real quick, same thing applies here, that we have growth scores for the school, and school-wide growth scores are provided at the top, and then you have individual growth scores for different subgroups here. Also, the graph is available, and the CSV Excel file information is available, as you can see. I just want to say one thing about the blue, green, and red in the growth scores. The blue, green, and red in the growth scores have to do with getting above or below the number 70 and above or below the number 80. And so the average in the state growth score is going to stay about 75. That's just how they set it. What that corresponds to, all these correspond to AGI scores, which is average growth index scores. Your average growth index score of -1 is going to correspond to 70, 0 to 75, and +1 to 80. That's it. There's no real magic to it, except for they've capped the scores to be between 50 and 100. If you get a very low growth score, the lowest you're going to get is 50. If you get a very high growth score, the highest you're going to get is 100. So it's a curtailed system. Okay, back on the school performance measures again. Just want to go to on-track measures, because there's a couple of things I wanted to show you about that. Again, they have graphs, which you can click on here. You can see that English language growth and attainment is a federal ESSA requirement. So also attendance, as I'm sure you are aware. So one thing to know about attendance, though, is, as you can see here, the school year it is corresponding to is 22-23, unlike the grade 3 reading, for example, which is 23-24. So attendance scores are lagging to 22-23, the previous year. And the achievement scores and growth scores are for the most recent year. That is also true with graduation, which I'll show you real quick. Just showing you that you can export those summaries, those same summaries, from these pages as well. I just want to show you quickly college and career measures. So college and career measures, we have things like career standards, benchmarks, 4-year cohort, graduation. Again, these are the blues and the reds have to do with whether you exceed the statewide goal or the goal that is set for you in your ESSA goal that was set based on a baseline from 2016, I think, or something like that. In any case, the last thing that I want to show you is this. In the 4-year cohort, which, as you can see, gets reported as part of the federal ESSA requirements, and 5-year cohort does not, because you see there's no federal designation. So your 4-year cohort is what really counts. So make sure you pay attention to that particularly. And once again, like attendance, this only refers to people graduating through 22-23. So the information is a little bit different than you might expect if you were looking at 24 numbers and wondering why you got different graduation rates. Um, and just to show you that post-secondary transition information only goes as far as 21, 22. I'm not going to go through all of the other issues. I think those were sort of the highlights I wanted to go through with you. And if you have any more questions, I'll be back to talk with you again. Or you can send me an email. Just ask someone from PCE how to get in touch with me. I just want to show you that there's information about these terms and things like that that you may not be aware of. That's helpful if you want to explain something or tell somebody how to look up the definition of certain things. Um, there's also one more thing down at the very bottom. You can download these data files by going to this thing where it says data file. You'll see there's glossary also there and some guidance on how to use it, and even you can contact someone if you can't figure out how to use it. But if you click on data files, it has data files going all the way back to 2016-17 when the Futurity Index first started. So that's all I wanted to show you guys today. There's plenty more to talk about, but I think that gives you a lot of things to look at. Again, I'm Alex Schuh. If you have questions for me, please send them over. Thanks a lot. Bye.